Wisconsin Broadcasters Association Hall of Famer Bob Berry ruled Milwaukee's airwaves in the 60s and 70s. He spoke with countless musicians and celebrities over the years. Bob collected remarkable recordings of these encounters, which he's now sharing with the public. Here's Bob.
Desiderio Alberto Arnaz IV is better known as Desi Arnaz Jr. He's an actor and musician. He's also the son of Lucille and Desi Arnaz Sr. His birth was part of TV history. Lucy's pregnancy was part of the I Love Lucy show. That storyline was very controversial at that time. At 12 years of age, Desi was a drummer with Dino, Desi and Billy. They had 2 hit records. Desi appeared in several movies, including the Mambo Kings in 1992, where he played his father's character, Ricardo. Little did I know that Desi was involved in drugs and alcohol when I emceed their concert at Milwaukee County Stadium in the 60s. He was 15 years old. He discusses that and more.
If you're thinking what I'm thinking, we won't have to say a word.
Dino, Desi, and Billy, if you're thinking what I'm thinking. And one of the members of that trio is Desi Arnaz Jr. Desi is with us this afternoon. And I was just wondering, listening to that, if you ever get together with Dino Martin and Billy.
Not as much as we used to, because he actually is getting back into the entertainment business. He'd like to be, he'd like to act, and he just did a pilot for David Gerber, and he was in the Air Force for a couple of years as a jet fighter pilot. He still is in the Air National Guard, actually.
He was pretty involved in tennis, too, wasn't he?
Yeah, that was a few years ago, but he's getting back into show business, and Billy Henchy from Dino, Desi and Billy is playing with the Beach Boys. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can remember when the 3 of you were here, I wasn't paying too much attention to the 3 of you because Dina was along with you that time.
That's right, I remember that.
And I was watching her.
Yeah, that's right, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember that trip now. That's about, 15 years ago, huh?
Oh, yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be at least that, I think. Yeah, that was out at County Stadium.
Right.
And, yeah. You know, I kind of thought Automan was going to make it.
Automan was I kind of liked doing Automan.
I bet you did. It was kind of a fun show. It really was.
I enjoyed Automan. I got a lot of nice feedback from people who liked the show, and that's just the way it goes. I don't know what happened. We didn't get the ratings that they wanted us to get, but I don't know if ratings reflect really what people are watching.
No,
That's basically what happened.
I don't think so. I really don't. Desi Arnaz Jr. is on the Bob Berry Calls the World Wire. He's one of those who had it all. I mean, he grew up as the son of Desi Arnaz Sr. and Lucille Ball, celebrity status right from birth, and just kind of really had things going for him. And then all of a sudden started taking drugs, drinking. In fact, you started drinking at an early age, didn't you, Desi?
Uh-huh. It wasn't actually all of a sudden. It was kind of all during what you just introduced was that was the time when it all started, really, back in the rock and roll days, and even before that. But it's been about 2.5 years now, and I'm talking about how my life has changed.
Well, did you start drinking then when you were like 13 years old?
I started drinking, yeah, when I was about 13.
Now, were you taking drugs at that time, too? Or?
No, that didn't happen until I was about 15. And that was really an alternative to drinking because I realized that I had a problem with drinking, and I thought that in the 60s, drugs were like the answer to, an alternative lifestyle, and that they would help you enhance your perception and things like that. But in fact, it was the same progressive problem with drugs, and that alcohol is a drug too, that I had with alcohol. And it took me like 15 years to figure it out. The last 6 years, which is about 8 years ago, I tried to control and do all different types of things to cut down and cut back, and nothing really worked until I had to see very clearly that it was interfering with my life and my work, and there was something, the cause, why a person ever drinks and uses drugs to begin with. That's the world. The world offers alcohol and drugs as a cure-all, really, but people don't realize the severity of the problem, and that anyone is. It's not just because you're from a certain walk of life either. Alcoholism is the 3rd largest killer in the world, and drug trafficking is the largest business on this planet.
Yeah, was it real easy for you?
Pardon me?
Was it real easy for you to get the alcohol and the drugs at that time? I just thought at the age of 13 that it might be a little harder for you to get it than...
Well, I was out on the road, Bob, as you know, when I was about 13, and it was pretty prevalent back in the 60s. And you know, I was around older people, and there wasn't any, you know, people and kids in high school right now, as we're speaking, are, you know, very easy to get the drugs. That's why it's so important that people know the facts about drinking and drugs.
Did your mother know that you were drinking and taking drugs?
Yeah, they knew, but they didn't know they didn't, you know, part of the disease is that part of the nature of drinking and drug use when you're trying to control it is that if you have to control it, you've got a problem. And the part of the problem is it tells you don't have a problem. In other words, you deceive yourself. The conditioning that we're all raised in is looking for something outside of ourselves to fulfill us. And at a very early age, I had certain guarantees, supposedly, for happiness, but there was still something missing. And when I looked around at other people, there was still something missing. They may have had the same financial security or recognition that I did. And one of the guarantees for happiness is drugs and alcohol, too, as an alternative.
Did the drugs and alcohol have anything to do with your breakup of your marriage to Linda Pearl?
I think they interfered with everything. So, yeah, that they interfered with my relationships.
Do you have a steady girlfriend now, or...?
Oh, I'm seeing somebody that I've known for a while that attends the classes that I go to.
Great. Wish you all the best, Desi.
Okay, Bob. Thank you.
Bob Berry.
Thank you for listening to Bob Berry's Unearthed Interviews. Be sure to subscribe and rate our podcast on iTunes or wherever you find your podcasts. You can find all the episodes at WisconsinBroadcastingMuseum.org. Check out Bob Berry's books, Rock and Roll Radio Milwaukee. Book sale proceeds support Angels Kids Fund and Donate Life Wisconsin. The preceding program was made possible by a generous contribution from Terry Barnes.